Here at Blue Apron, we know exactly how hectic school nights can be. That's why we created Assemble and Bake. Delicious one-pan meals that make family dinner simple. Just assemble the pre-chopped ingredients and put the pan in the oven to bake. Then you're free. To help out with that last-minute diorama, shop Assemble and Bake at blueapron.com. Get 50% off your first 2 orders with code APRON50. Terms and conditions apply. Visit blueapron.com/terms for more.
This is Ray County Voices, a podcast of the Richmond News and its sister newspaper, the Excelsior Springs Standard. Welcome back to Ray County Voices. If you are a regular listener, welcome to Ray County Voices. If you are a first-time listener, I am one of your regular hosts, Shawn Roney, also sports editor for the Richmond News and its sister newspaper, which is responsible for Ray County Voices. As I record this, it is the holiday season of 2025. I think we're still in the middle of Hanukkah. Christmas is less than a week away. Kwanzaa is a week away. For listeners in the UK, Boxing Day is coming up soon. And we've typically done something holiday themed around the holiday season. And this time we thought we would just kind of cover the experience of what it's like to be a service member who has been deployed. I can kind of speak from this a little bit as being part of, I guess it would be considered a military family, because I had 2 brothers who were veterans. One was in the Army, and after he did his basic training in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and then I think was at Fort Polk, Louisiana, ended up being stationed with a cousin of ours and a friend of theirs. They went in what was called the Buddy Plan in what was then West Germany. So there were times I didn't get to see him for some time. So we brought on a guest whom I got to know during the football season, which is Cale Lyons, who's also the new Excelsior Springs baseball coach. And what position did you coach for football?
I was the safeties and defensive backs coach.
And I also found out that he is a current service member of is it Air National Guard?
Missouri Army National
Army National Guard. So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Coach.
I'm excited to be here.
Just kind of start off with some basic background. If memory serves, you've been in the ANG for, is it
24 years? Yes, sir. I joined back in 2001 when all the craziness and kind of kicked off. Joined around that time.
How much of an influence did 9/11 have on your decision to join?
Huge. My dad served 30 years in the Army. My grandpa was in the Army. I have many uncles that are also in the Army. So I always, corny, being a kid growing up, always wanted to be like your dad, right? Always want to be like your dad. So my dad always had a huge influence on that, just the man he is. I always wanted to be like him. So that had a huge decision on joining the Army. And then when all that stuff happened with 9/11, I always kind of thought to myself, well, if I'm going to live in this great country that allows me the freedom I have, what kind of man would I be if I didn't fight for that freedom? So that's kind of always been my why, and still is to this day, honestly, my why of why I stay in.
If memory serves, and I bring this up because Miranda Jameson recently did a profile on you that actually is running as I record this in the December 19th edition of the Excelsior Springs Standard. You grew up in, was it St. Joe?
So I actually grew up in Clarkston, Nebraska, a town of 300 people. We moved to St. Joe in my teens. My dad got moved out to the St. Joe area. So I went to high school, actually at Benton High School, which was, man, you want to talk about a culture shock, huh? Coming from a town of 300 people. And now I'm going to a graduating class of 300 people. The town of St. Joe, you're sitting around 75,000 people. Wow, what a culture shock, right?
And when you enlisted in the National Guard, was it with an armory in St. Joe? Is that where you had to? No?
No, sir. No, believe it or not. So I always wanted to be a part of combat arms, and I joined with the 129th Field Artillery. So Field Artillery is just such an amazing, powerful MOS military job. Just so powerful because you have these howitzers, and I mean, it just blows up pieces of ground. You're sending artillery downrange. So when you're a 17-year-old kid, I was 17 when I joined, had to actually get my parents' permission. When you're a 17-year-old kid and you want to join the Army, of course you want to go do something crazy like that, right? So I actually joined as a field artilleryman, and I served in Chillicothe, Missouri, with Bravo Battery, 1st of the 129th.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
And where's your current?
So right now I am with the 35th MP Brigade. Throughout my years, I transitioned, moving up in rank, and then even going to OCS. So I'm now an officer in the Missouri Guard. I transitioned to the military police side, just because I like constant movement and I like to still move and we still get to do neat things in the military police part of the Army. We get to do a lot of really cool stuff. So that kind of was a no-brainer for me.
What prompted you to pick the National Guard over the RA to use the acronyms Regular Army or Army Reserve?
So I actually had ambitions to go in regular Army, and I got a baseball scholarship to go to college. No one in my family at that point went to college, so it was kind of one of those things like, hey man, let's give college a shot. So let's go National Guard, and if I want to join the Army, well, hey, it's still there if we want to go active duty, if college doesn't work out. So I kind of went the college route, which is ironic because after my sophomore year at college, I was actually deployed and then had to come back and finish my college. But baseball played a big factor in that because I always had dreams of also playing college baseball. So when I did receive a scholarship, it was very hard to turn that down.
And where did you go to college and what position did you play?
So my first 2 years, I was at North Central Missouri College, JUCO ball. I was a catcher, played a little bit of corner infield, but primarily used as a catcher. And then I signed and played at Hannibal LaGrange University, where I actually graduated from.
And with that, we're going to take a short break for advertising and musical interludes, and stick around. We'll be right back.
Tonight's meal, tilapia surprise with boiled cabbage. Begin cooking steps 1 through 50 now.
Are you kidding me? Making dinner shouldn't feel like doing a 1,000-piece puzzle. With Blue Apron's new one-pan assemble and bake meals, the hard part's already done. Pre-chopped ingredients, zero stress. Just assemble, bake, and enjoy. No complicated steps, no mountain of dishes. Try Assemble and Bake today. Get 20% off your first 2 orders with code APRON20. Terms and conditions apply. Visit blueapron.com/terms for more.
Welcome back to Ray County Voices. We're continuing our conversation with Cale Lyons, the baseball coach who's also a position coach for football. Do you coach anything in the winter?
I actually I run the weight room for the kids that want to come in if they're not playing a winter sport, so they can come in and work out. And honestly, I can get my workout in myself, right?
Sure,
works out pretty great.
Absolutely. As we were mentioning in the first segment, he works at in the Excelsior Springs School District at Excelsior Springs High School, and he is also an Army National Guard soldier. Going back to your background, where did you do your basic training? I
did my basic training in AIT, so my advanced individual training after basic training at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. That's the home of the Field Artillery.
And when did you get into coaching and teaching?
So I always knew that I wanted to be a coach and teacher, just because I had so many great influences on my life when I was in high school. Jeff Modis, who is now retired, Mike Musser, retired. Man, a lot of these guys are retired. Pat Byrne. My coaches in high school had just like my dad, had such a big impact on me just because I always thought, man, these are the men I want to be like, just men full of integrity, men who would do anything to help students and teens like me, so I always knew that was something I wanted to do. Honestly, it's crazy though, because I never actually started teaching until I was 30 years old because of military and all that. I was always kind of busy with military work. That was honestly kind of my job when I graduated high school until I really found that teaching job that kind of got me started.
Many decades ago, when I considered joining the Army National Guard, and I talked to a recruiter actually at the Armory here in Richmond, Missouri, okay, where we're recording this. He had talked about that employers, if you're a reservist or a guardsman, if you get deployed, they can't take your job from you, but it tends to make employers more hesitant to hire you because they know they're going to lose you for a while. Did you encounter any of that when you were getting into your career? Or?
Believe it or not, and maybe I'm just naive, but I never really felt like I encountered that itself. And the coolest thing about it, most employers are very, very understandable of that. I think in this day and age also, just because everything is so recent, the conflicts we're in right now. But I remember never really having a huge issue with that. Or again, like I said, if I did, maybe I'm just naive and I didn't know at the time, maybe because I was just younger, just didn't know what I didn't know. Right?
Are you still able to keep count of how many times you've been deployed? I'm sure it's been a lot.
I have. So real deployments, like a year plus, I have had 2 real deployments. I had a deployment of 18 months, and I've had a deployment of a year. And I've had small little mobilizations. I've been to Ferguson twice, when all that kind of kicked off and we had to keep law and order there. I had to go help at Hurricane Katrina back in 2005.
Yeah, 05.
Somewhere, yeah, 05. I was there to help there. We've been through a few like emergencies, floods, snowstorms, things like that. So I've had if you really think of all the mobilizations I've had on top of the deployments, I have had quite a few. I'm sure there's a few that I can't think of either. You'd have to ask my wife, because man, she that poor lady. You want to talk about the most patient, most understanding person in the world? Oh my goodness, Reagan Lyons is the epitome of that. She has been through so many of these with me, and have had to lock down the home, and keep things going. And they always say it's a soldier who does the majority of the work, but man, it is the family back home that really does the most of that, honestly.
Well, we'll start with the 18-month deployment. Where were you deployed then?
So a couple different places. We started off in Fort Lewis, Washington, and then we went to Camp Duggar, and we were in Yakima for quite some time, law and order, and doing things of that nature. We were supposed to be a 12-month, hey, we get in, we get out. We really didn't know where we were going, to be honest with you. They took a bunch of field artillerymen, and they said, we're gonna make you military police. And that was kind of where that military police journey started for me, honestly. They said, we're gonna make you military police. And we did a lot of law and order and things of that nature. Which is actually kind of funny, because halfway through that deployment, I actually played on the Fort Lewis football team. I tried out, and I actually made the Army football team, Fort Lewis, which is pretty neat. So we played some of the naval stations in that area, played Air Force stations in that area. So that was pretty cool. Got to play football for the Army, which is neat. But really got to see a lot of cool things as a 20-year-old kid, because here I was in college playing ball, and I get a phone call saying, hey, you're being deployed. We don't know where. We don't know for how long, but we know that come Monday, you're going to be in here, and we're going to get things going. And I say Monday loosely, obviously we had a week or two to kind of get our stuff together, right? But it was really neat for a 20-year-old kid. I got to see parts of the country that I never thought I would see. I got to go to other countries and kind of see some cool things too as a 20-year-old kid. And it's neat because you're so impressionable at that age. I've made some lifelong friends from that deployment. Guys who were in my wedding, guys I still talk to constantly. a buddy of mine that I actually texted last night. He's still a diehard Seahawks fan. So we're watching the Seahawks and Rams, and we're bantering back and forth. I'm like, buddy, where's your Seahawks now? And this is the fourth quarter, and then I keep getting text messages like, "Oh, just wait." And sure enough, man, Sam Darnold, hats off to you, brother.
Came back and won in overtime.
There you go, hands off to you. But it was kind of, that was my 18-month deployment, and it was my real first taste of what military life really is about, what it is like, and it really kind of helped me discipline myself and kind of put my head on straight of, hey, do you really want to go back home and graduate from college? And if you do, man, you better get your stuff together, get your act together. Cause when we finished the deployment, I was 22, getting ready to become 23. And here I am kind of behind the eight ball. And I was lucky enough, Clay Biggs, my baseball coach, who is now the athletic director at Hannibal LaGrange, but he was the head baseball coach at Hannibal LaGrange, Clay Biggs and Shane Graham, they gave me my scholarship back and said, come back here and play for us. And it kind of helped me because I was able to graduate. I even got a hardship red shirt out of it. So I was actually able to be there for 3 years, and it got me kind of caught up with my classes and allowed me to graduate. So the first deployment was kind of neat and kind of allowed me to grow up, like I said, quite a bit. And it's ironic because my dad was deployed at the time as well as an MP, and he was at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of neat because we did our train up. Fort Leonard Wood is kind of the home of the MPs and the chemical Seaburn. We call them Seaburn, but home of the chemical soldiers. And my dad was there as an MP, so it was kind of neat because I got to kind of get trained up by my dad, which that doesn't happen to really anybody. So very, very neat because, again, it's kind of like one of those full circle things, getting to be around the man that I idolized and the man that I looked up to. And now here I am being trained by him and really kind of being looked out for by him. So it was a very, very neat experience.
So getting into the theme of this episode, during the 18-month deployment, what was it like for you being deployed during the holidays?
Lonely. It's hard, and it's a shared hardship with your friends. It's funny because now they call it trauma bonding, right? How you make all your friends in the military, but it's very hard, especially again when you're that 20-year-old kid. It's because you're still a kid at 20 years old, man. I don't, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's hard because Thanksgiving, without your family, Christmas without your family, holidays, your birthday. But the cool part about the military is that you make your own brotherhood and sisterhood. You make your own family there with those guys because you are just bonded by the same goal. Everybody in the military has the same goal. We protect and serve our country. So it's you find ways to enjoy the holidays and do that with those around people that you would never spend a day with, let alone a holiday in years of your life with. So it's actually really, really neat. And it kind of helps with that loneliness because they're in the same position as you, and you make those friends and you forge those bonds, and just kind of neat, how you're able to do that together with those friends, and we call them battle buddies that you meet along the way, and you kind of learn how other people celebrate their Christmases, and you kind of dabble with how they do it as well, and you really get a new perspective on the holidays. So if you ask anybody now, they'll tell you I am the biggest Christmas nerd in the world. I love Christmas. It's the only time of the year where everybody is just so nice and everybody really does truly look out for one another, like we should all year round, right? But with Christmas, you just kind of have that extra little special time, and so because of the times I've spent away, 4 Christmases, I believe, because of military duty, because of deployments, we go all out. My wife will make fun of me because the day after Halloween, November 1st, I say it's Christmas time. The tree goes up, the lights go up, we go up, and it's about 2 months of Christmas in the Lyons house. But again, that's because of that time that I spent without family because of deployments, that it just means so much more to me now as an adult who gets to be home for the holidays.
Related to being able to stay in touch with Reagan or family members when you're deployed, again, going back to when I was a kid, and my older brother Pat was stationed overseas in the Army. Of course, back then, and I'm dating myself, didn't have internet then, didn't have cell phones back then. So, I mean, you had to use old school pen and paper.
Yeah.
And I think Pat enjoyed getting tangible letters from home.
Great.
How does Reagan, or how do your family members communicate with, or how are they allowed to communicate with you when you're on deployment?
So, my first 2003, the internet was kind of newer, but we were able to email. At this point, I didn't know Reagan yet, but my parents, and my friends back home and family back home, we were able to email back and forth. Cell phones were fairly new, and I just got one. My first cell phone came right before I deployed, so I was able to call home where we were at. We had great service, and it was a great way. We were able to call home, but really, they were able to send a couple presents out. Nothing really crazy, but things you kind of need, So they call them care packages.
Mm-hmm.
But I was able to get a handful of those nowadays when you deploy. So my last deployment, 2012. I was able to get on the internet and send my wife home, shop online and send her wonderful presents, and she was able to do the same. Again, more of what I needed at that time. But yeah, it's that kind of makes it so much more special now, because you're kind of missing out on some of those things, which, I mean, again, presents isn't really what the big part about it, but you're missing out on that family time. You're missing out on the wonderful celebrations, the food, the togetherness, all that stuff. So that was kind of the big thing that you find with your battle buddies, your fellow soldiers. But my parents were really good. My dad was really good. My mom was really good about sending me letters and emailing me and all that good stuff. My younger brother, your built-in best friend, right? Really good about sending emails and calling and all that stuff. And it kind of helps a little bit, but not the same as being there in person.
Obviously not able to give too much in terms of position or what you're doing, because you have to deal with classified information, I'm guessing.
Yes, sir.
And with that, we'll take another break, and we will resume talking with Excelsior Springs coach and Army National Guardsman Cale Lyons when we come back.
You know how everything's a subscription now? Music, movies, even socks. I swear if
To continue this ad, please upgrade to Premium Plus Platinum.
What? No. Anyway, Blue Apron.
This is a pay-per-listen ad. Please confirm your billing.
Oh, that's annoying. At least with the new Blue Apron, there's no subscription needed. Get delicious meals delivered without the weekly plan.
Wait, no subscription?
Keep the flavor. Ditch the subscription. Get 20% off your first 2 orders with code APRON20. Terms and conditions apply. Visit blueapron.com/terms for more.
Back. And we're back on Ray County Voices, a podcast of the Richmond News and its sister newspaper, the Excelsior Springs Standard. And with me, as I record this today, is service member and football and baseball coach Cale Lyons with the Excelsior Springs School District. Where we left off, we were discussing some of the protocols related to deployment, and we had discussed Cale's first deployment, the 18-month deployment. Talk about the other lengthy deployment, the 12-month deployment.
Yes, sir. So 2012, I was actually deployed to the Middle East we spent 9 months in country. It was about a 2.5 month train up, and we were about 9.5 months in country. That one was pretty neat. I had a very, very neat position on that deployment. And that one was a very, very neat and real deployment in my mind. But again, same with the holiday tradition. A deployment overseas on holidays. It was funny because you still have your family. And this time, Reagan and I had been married about 2 years. That poor girl. Second Christmas and second anniversary, second Thanksgiving, second everything, and babe, you're on your own, right? And we have a wonderful support group back home. So but either way, family members are sending you things up. So we would have family members send us like ugly Christmas sweaters up so we could wear them around if you had some downtime, around that Christmas time, even though it would be hot as heck in those things, but you do whatever to kind of feel like you're back at home, right? And I deployed with the 35th Combat Aviation Brigade that time, and just a great group of guys. They were very, very cool. And that, man, you want to talk about out of your comfort zone. I'm a military police and field artilleryman, and here I am around these helicopter pilots. But it was very, very neat because basically on a daily basis, I would get to fly on a Black Hawk helicopter, which is very, very neat. That was a very cool experience to get to do that for so long. And I mean, we're talking on a daily basis, getting to do that. So that was quite the experience. But that was our 2012, 2013 deployment down there. We were all over Camp Buren, Ollie Osseline, Camp Virginia. I actually gave a presentation, did some time in Saudi Arabia. That was pretty neat while I was on that deployment. And cool. We came home. We got to come through Germany. Oh no, came through Germany on the way out there. Came through Ireland on the way back home.
Nice.
So that was very, very neat because there's so many places that, I got to travel the world on that one. And that was really, really neat. And, some cool stories and man, some real lifelong friends I got to make from that, deployment as well.
And I'll ask, because you visited multiple countries, how did the citizens of those countries look at American service members versus the way that they're seen here?
It's kind of a mix there. Some of them love you because they know you're there for the right reasons. You're there to help. Some of them not so welcoming, obviously, and that's why we were there, right? But it's really neat, especially when you do get to help somebody, knowing that you did something to make their life better, or something that's going to set up their family for a long history of time. So you get a mixed reaction.
As someone who's ridden in planes, but has never, to my recollection, ridden in a helicopter, you have to tell me what riding in a helicopter is like.
It's really, really cool. The doors are open, you get strapped in, you can hang your feet out if you want. And the first couple times, now I'll tell you what I did. It's just a neat position to be in. And eventually, just like everything else, it gets routine, right? But, it's really, really cool, because it's so easy to see down because those hatches are open, those doors are open. And a helicopter that moves so fast and is so agile, and the pilots are amazing. I've never in my life met a military pilot that is not just a master of their craft. Man, those guys are good. And when you see those helicopters, because there's been a few times where we've had to really move that chopper. Man, those guys are amazing at what they do, and it's a really, really neat ride. It's a fun ride and pretty cool, and it's just a straight up, instead of you're going from a building speed and then coming up in an angle. It's a straight up we're going, at a vertical launch and a go. And sometimes like when they go, you'll feel the pit of your stomach still back where you started. Still back where you started. And sometimes we'd take some flights just because they had to get some hours and they wanted to have some fun. And they would always play games with us when that would happen, to see who they could get sick and they could get us sick. And I don't know if I got that iron stomach or what, but there were a handful of times I was like, oh man, let's close our eyes and wait to land. But it is a very, very neat experience and it is a lot of fun.
And what tends to be the average altitude that they and the airspeed?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know that. The airspeed fast, how about that fast? And the altitude high and fast. But I would assume probably not the same altitude as a fixed wing in an airplane, I would think. But honestly, I couldn't tell you that. I don't know.
Now, when you were overseas, were you strictly with other A&G personnel, or was it a mix?
No, quite the mix. So when you're overseas, you've got active duty, you've got National Guard, you've got different branches, Navy, Air Force. We had some Air Force guys attached to us, some Marines attached to us. So you're kind of there. You're different countries. So we had some Canadian Army. We had some Australian Army. Those guys are crazy. They are so. Oh man, you want to talk about some cool guys. Cool guys, and then those Australians, they are a lot of fun, and they are cool. And then when it's time to handle business, those dudes handle business. But it's kind of like just a big mix, almost like going to college again. You got your mix of everybody and everything, and it's really neat because we're all there for the same reason, or the same goal, but we all had different jobs that lead us to that goal.
Well, part of the reason I ask that is because several years ago, I was considering making a documentary video, and I had the chance to visit the Army Corps of Engineer offices in downtown Kansas City.
Okay.
And I actually got to talk to a young lady who was an Army reservist and got deployed to the Middle East too. And I know in her experience, there seemed to be kind of some tension among the active duty people. And it was almost like there was a pecking order of regular Army or active duties up here, Army Reserves here, and National Guards here. But it sounds like that your experience was not quite like that.
No, not really. I'm sure there was some. I'm sure there was. But if you can do your job and you can do it very, very well, which we did, we fit in very, very well there with those guys. I actually enjoy working hand in hand with the active duty Army guys. But no, I've come to find that if you are really good at your job, you couldn't even tell who were the active duty, who was the National Guard, who are the reservists. And like I said, I'm sure there is some of that at some places, and maybe I just haven't experienced it. Maybe I just kind of lucked out, or again, maybe I'm naive and just didn't know maybe I was experiencing it.
We'll have another interlude, and we'll come back and talk some more with Coach and National Guardsman Cale Lyons, so stick around.
Why does every recipe I try need 18 ingredients, including a jar of something paste I'll never use again, but will sit in my fridge for 9 months? I just want dinner in the oven, fast. That's why I love Blue Apron's new one-pan assemble and bake meals. They send you fresh ingredients that are already chopped. All you do is put it all together and bake. That's it. No chopping, no weird leftovers, just delicious, easy-to-make meals. Get 20% off your first 2 orders with code APRON20. Terms and conditions apply. Visit blueapron.com/terms for more.
Round. What kind of advice would you give to military families? I mean, say someone is listening and they've got a spouse who's going to go for his or her first lengthy deployment. What would you tell them?
Well, I always say to have a plan, have a support system back home, because again, as hard as we think it is on us as soldiers, man, it is so much harder on your families back home, because at least you know what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, because you're the one doing it, man. They're sometimes at home wondering, man, what is going on? Are they safe? Are they going to be okay? And then life still goes on too, the washing machine breaks, the garage door doesn't work anymore. You still have to take your kids to school every day, but now it's just you, it's not your husband or wife aren't there to do it anymore. So I always say, have a great support system back home. And the Army has this thing called the FRG, the Family Readiness Group, that's within each unit. And, man, they are great, when it comes to, even sometimes just needing to talk to somebody, because of the stress that comes from that back home, so I always say, have a plan. You can never over plan. You can never over communicate either. So make sure that your family members know what you're doing, where you're going, as much as you can obviously tell them, right? But always have a plan, and never try to leave those projects of, we'll get to that when I get back home. No, do it before you go, because something that could take a weekend to do can make hours and hours a day of something easier on that spouse and that family back home. Always have an idea of how you can communicate before you go. Now, again, obviously things change, when you're deployed. You don't know who from what from where sometimes until you're actually boots on ground. But always try to have a plan of how you can communicate. And my biggest thing is always have I call it a dream vacation for when you get back home. Something that you and your family can look forward to together. Something that kind of makes it more bearable. And something that, man, when we get back home, we're going here, we're going to go do this, it really does, something as silly as that, I guess, really makes things more bearable and gives you something to look forward to every day and while you're gone. And sometimes when you need that, I always call that the golden nugget, when you need that little golden nugget, sometimes.
What are some of the dream vacations that you've gotten to take when you've gotten back from deployment?
Well, when I came back, on the last one, my wife and I, we went to Seattle. We went to the Washington area for a week, and we did all the stuff we wanted to do. My big thing was, again, being a baseball guy, the Mariners weren't in town, but we did do a tour of Safeco Field. I actually got to get down on the field. Man, That was neat. We took the ferry from Seattle to, I don't remember now, one of the islands. We got to do all these neat things. The big Ferris wheel in Seattle. And then we just kind of road trip there. We half the fun's a destination, in our family. It's kind of the way we look at it. All the neat stuff you see along the way. So that was a big one right there. We did we did this hotel in Kansas. It was like a themed hotel. But that was pretty neat. And then just kind of going and seeing family. Kind of traveling around seeing family. That was a big one. That was my last deployment. My first deployment, some buddies and I, when we got back home, guys I still keep in touch with, we did a trip to Myrtle Beach. We did a trip to Vegas. We did some trips like that, and that was very neat. So you always kind of have something to look forward to. You always want to have something that, again, that golden nugget,
Looking at your career, do you have kind of an end game, for lack of a better term, as to how long that you want to continue serving in the National Guard before you retire? Or
I always say, as long as I can still do my job and do it well, I'm a big, strong, fast guy that knows how to use his brain very, very well. I understand the MDMP, the military decision-making process, very, very well. I think as long as I am still a contributing member and I can still do my job very well, and there's still a need, which I guess there's always going to be a need, right? I think it's one of those things, it's very, very hard to let go of. And I know I've had that talk with my wife and family many times. I mean, we're going on 24 years. You can retire at 20. I love serving my country. I love knowing that that I'm making a difference. Keeping people safe. But again, it's also part of, I know that, the men and women that I deploy with, it's crazy because a lot of it is also you do it for them. There was a saying once my drill sergeant told me this, when I was going through basic training. I'll never ever forget this. Mike Lau, and he was actually killed, in Iraq, in '09. But he always said a soldier doesn't do what he does because of what's ahead of him. He does it for the family and the country behind him. And I've never forgot that, and I never will forget that. And I always think that if I'm still doing what I can do to protect the country behind me and protect the people there, here in the United States, I'm going to continue to do it until I physically can't anymore.
Well, part of the reason I asked that is years ago, right around the time of actually 9/11, coincidentally, I did a newspaper story for one of the urban papers in Kansas City, and I got to talk to a chief petty officer at the Coast Guard recruiting station when it was still on Berry Road before it moved to Armour and 210. And I know he had talked about guys or gals serving 30, 40 years was starting to fade into memory, that generally you did, if you're a career person, you did your 20 and out. So if you go past 20, do you have to get any kind of waivers or anything like that?
No. As long as you're still, no, obviously we still, you have to pass your PK test. Still got to be very physically fit. Still got to meet all the standards. Still have to be able to shoot well. Still have to be able to do all sorts of things, to meet the standards. But as long as you can meet the military standards, we tend to keep you in, and keeping that level of expertise as someone who's been in that long. It's almost kind of a gift because it's something that now they can share their expertise with the new group of I always call them kids now, man. That's how you know. Wow, that's how you know you're getting older. With the new group of kids that always come in, that's one of my favorite things of what I do, is I know that there's a lot of knowledge that I can give to these young men and women that come in that want to do the same thing as me and serve our country and do whatever we can to make this a better place. And I love them all to death, So knowing that you can give your years of wisdom and your experiences and kind of pass that down to them is just such a great asset to have.
And one other question I'll ask related to the theme of deployment: is it challenging at all to have to turn off, because you've been part of a military culture? Is it difficult to have to kind of flip the switch and flip the mindset from the military culture when you go back into civilian life? Or
yeah, it's very difficult. It is, just because everything is so regimented and everything is so important. Your job is so important because it's not like a game where, man, you lose, you come back and you play again next week. It's a game. If you don't do your job right, somebody gets hurt really, really bad, or somebody loses a husband or wife, somebody loses a son or daughter. So it's very hard sometimes to turn that off.
And how do you turn that off and get back into your civilian frame of mind?
I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know.
we'll move on to sports stuff. So because you mentioned the Seahawks, do you have a favorite football team?
I do. So growing up in Nebraska, obviously we are diehard college football fans.
Cornhuskers.
Nebraska, oh brother. Yeah. So we are diehard. If I had to pick an NFL team, it would be the Detroit Lions, just because they always drafted so heavy out of Nebraska. Corey Schlesinger, Ndamukong Suh, guys like that. So we always kind of grew up. My dad and I, my brother, we always kind of grew up rooting for the Detroit Lions. Barry Sanders was a big hero of mine. And then being a baseball guy in Nebraska, our closest major league team was the Kansas City Royals. And then obviously Alex Gordon coming in, being a Nebraska guy. And believe it or not, college, when you play college baseball, you play in summer leagues. Well, I played in the Mink League. I actually played against Alex Gordon. So it's very, very neat when you're a diehard Royals fan and you go watch him play. It's like, man, I played against that guy right there, So I'm diehard Detroit Lions, Nebraska Cornhuskers, and Kansas City Royals fan. Obviously, I love West Point football. Rough week last week.
Yes,
with
losing to Navy.
Yes. Oh man, on a fourth down. Yikes, 17-16. Yikes, right? Yeah, we love our Nebraska football. And it's great 'cause my dad and my brother and I, we're in different parts of the world, or parts of the United States. My brother's in Colorado, my dad's in Kansas, I'm here in Missouri. But we always find a time. We went to the Nebraska-Cincinnati game at Arrowhead together, and then my dad actually went out to that Belton game with my uncles that next night, that Friday night, to come watch us play Belton. So that was pretty cool. But we always find a time to make at least 1 to 2 games together, and always watch games together. And if not, man, we are texting like crazy throughout the game, and because everybody's a sideline coach, and then we are so guilty of that, but yeah, it's Nebraska through and through.
So as a secondary coach, I mean, do you find yourself looking at what the coverage is and saying, "Oh God, he's going to get burned on this"?
Absolutely. I will look and being so before I came here to Excelsior, I was a linebackers coach and defensive coordinator at Central High School in St. Joseph, Missouri. So I love watching the offensive side of the football, believe it or not, because then I think in my head, what would I do to beat this? What would I do to break this down? What would I do? And then obviously I love watching Nebraska defense, because they're a 3-3 stack, and it's a lot of fun because I like to think, okay, well, what are they going to do here pre-play, and how's it going to be ran, and what's going to happen? How would I combat this offense and this formation, this personnel? So I do that quite a bit, yes, sir.
And I guess one question kind of related to that, or related to coaching, is I know obviously at the pro level, as I've learned, play calling has become more complex, where that instead of having one play call sent in, you actually have 2 or 3 play options sent in, where the quarterback, he looks, see how the defense is lined up, if they're trying to disguise anything, and he can audible or make any kind of adjustments based on what he sees. And then obviously the defense, the linebacker, who typically has the green dot on his helmet, can do the same thing. Do you see that coming to the trickling down eventually to the high school level? I'm guessing it's not quite there yet, is it?
Not quite yet. We still call. I know. I am a big fan of calling the play myself from the sideline. Now, obviously, you have people up top that are talking to you about what they see formation wise. So you always have a handful of things in your head of what you want to run, and then once you hear that personnel that are on the field and maybe a specific, depending on how you game planned it that week, you've always got a handful of ideas in your head of what you're going to run. You're always trying to think a handful of plays ahead of time, down and distance situation, right? So I you know what? I could see that coming soon, maybe at the high school level. If not, maybe it's already happening in some bigger places like Texas and Florida, maybe. I don't know, but I could definitely see that being a thing. I don't know if I would ever be susceptible to that, because again, I am such a control freak that I got to be that guy making the call, and you're gonna run what I tell you to run. If we're wrong, hey, my bad. And if we're right, cool. Let's go.
As a baseball coach, I know your predecessor, Aaron Holst, at least when it came to pitches, he tended to trust his catcher to call the game, and then obviously he'd set the outfield as to whether they'd play straight away or whatnot. What's kind of your philosophy when it comes to?
So being a former catcher,
You like to call pitches?
I like to call pitches. I do. And believe it or not, my best friend, Cody Vaughn, who was actually been my pitching coach since I started becoming a head baseball coach 4 years ago at Central. I trust the man completely to call the pitches, and normally he will be the guy. He'll call pitches while I'm calling our defense, calling our shifts, calling our movements, our first and third, our whatever we have on. But normally Cody Vaughn, my pitching coach, I trust him to call the pitches. Not a big micromanager, but again, at the end of the day, his job is to run the pitching staff, and he knows better than me what that pitcher's dealing and what he's. He'll be with them while they're warming up before the game, so he knows what's working, what's not working, if he's hitting his locations or not. Has he got a secondary pitch today or not? And we always have scouting reports on the teams that we play based on previous encounters or coaches I know that maybe played that team and gave me a heads up about them. So everything that we do kind of goes back to that. But no, we do like to call the game ourselves quite a bit, just because again, I don't know, maybe it's a control thing. If you ask my wife, she'd probably tell you I'm a control freak. But plus that's the fun part of it too, the fun side of it. Because that's why we get to do it. Obviously, we don't get to be the ones out there playing. So calling the game is about as good as it gets for us.
And the last related sports question, also baseball question, and I bring this up because Micah Dillman, who is a part-time host here and played Excelsior Springs baseball. One of our episodes, he and Miranda Jameson, who's done the profiles on you, we got to discussing the pitch clock, which I think when we did that episode is the first year that MLB had instituted a pitch clock. What are your feelings about it? And do they not already have it at the college level?
If they have it at the college level, I'm not quite certain, to be honest. I mean, I graduated college 2008. We definitely have one then. I do love the idea of a pitch clock, not only as a fan, but as a coach, just because, sometimes as a player and as a coach, we can kind of linger on the past pitch, the past AB, whatever, whereas a pitch clock, like, hey man, get out of your head, we gotta go. The most important pitch is the next one, right? So I actually really think the pitch clock is awesome, and I hope it actually gets implemented at all levels, just to be honest with you, because again, I think it makes the sport so much better, because it just makes the action happen faster, but as an athlete also, it's, hey man, I can't sit here and stew on that call or on what happened last time I did this. I need to get the ball in my hands and go. So as a former athlete and as a coach, I think it's better for the mental side of the game, honestly.
Well, Cale Lyons, thank you for your service as an Army National Guardsman and as a public educator.
Thank you very much.
And to all our listeners out there, we hope you have a safe, happy holiday season, and check back with us in January when, if all goes well, we will have a paid-for episode. And then check with us in February where that, if all goes well, Miranda, or MJ as we call her, will likely share our experiences of what it's like covering minor league hockey. Bye now.
You know how everything's a subscription now? Music, movies, even socks. I swear if I...
To continue this ad, please upgrade to Premium Plus Platinum.
What? No. Anyway, Blue Apron...
This is a pay-per-listen ad. Please confirm your billing.
Oh, that's annoying. At least with the new Blue Apron, there's no subscription needed. Get delicious meals delivered without the weekly plan.
Wait, no subscription?
Keep the flavor. Ditch the subscription. Get 20% off your first 2 orders with code APRON20. Terms and conditions apply. Visit blueapron.com/terms for more.